Hi, I'm Megan of Megan v Hair Dimensions. Today I'm back reviewing some more movie, TV show hairstyles. Today I'll be looking at one of my favorite movies, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I could watch this movie over and over again. We'll start pretty easy with Envy Adams. Her look stays pretty consistent throughout the show. She's our typical powerful blonde pop star. Envy's character is very image focused. She is a new and upcoming pop star, rock star girl, and she's trying to make a name for herself. I mean, she seems to be pretty famous already, but she's more up and coming as she's only been broken up with Scott for like a year at this point. But it seems like she's using that bang to be like her iconic pop star look, like the blonde with the bangs. This movie came out like as Hannah Montana was in the midst, so maybe that came into inspiration. But yeah, nowadays we've got Sabrina Carpenter with that bang. Envy's bang is definitely super popular right now. I'd say it's like that curtain bang but with more texture that you can wear forward or like swoop to the side, and it's more versatile. Next we'll move on to Scott's friend and ex-girlfriend Kim Pine. Her look also does stay very consistent. I think her character knows who she is. The cut is like a shaggy textured layered bob, which kind of gives her some edge. It's not like super perfect and put together. I'd say her hair is kind of giving a little bit of controlled chaos with like her rocker chick vibe she's going for. Next we'll move on to Julie Powers. Her hair seems to always be in this very neat and put together ponytail. We have two different bang looks she has. One where she has like the straight across longer bang that's covering the eyebrows, and then one where she has it styled like swept to the side very neatly, very put together here. She isn't experimenting with her look. She's sticking with the mainstream feminine look. Her character is like a socially dominant character, I guess. Like she considers herself to be like in with the popular people, like she knows everyone, she gets along with everyone other than how mean she is. She's pretty mean and opinionated to Scott, but she's pretty plugged into the social scene, so she's sticking very mainstream. Next, we're going to move on to a character whose look does change a few times throughout the movie. Knives Chau. When we first meet Knives, she's very like typical young high school girly. She's got a basic ponytail with some bangs and pieces left out to frame her face, but the face framing pieces aside from the bangs aren't super intentional. It looks like she literally just like pulled some chunks out to bring some longer framing around the face. So not super intentional, and I'd say that it represents like the youth and emotional innocence she has at this time. She's the like youngest in the story here at 17. She's still in high school. Her next look is when she chops into a bob. She sees Scott's interest in Ramona and sees her bob, so she's trying to mature her look up and kind of take inspiration from Ramona and get Scott's attention more. She's so excited for her glow up and like, yay, look at me. But it's kind of sad because this glow up was really driven by like her comparison to Ramona, comparing herself to Ramona, and like the insecurity she has in her relationship with Scott. She copies Ramona's hair length, like the bob, to like become Scott's type. And yeah, it's kind of sad because really she's feeling rejected and confused to why she wasn't chosen, and she probably just doesn't feel good enough because her man is looking at another woman, older woman, manic pixie dream girl woman. All right, next we have Knives' next evolution to the half blue look. Takes color inspiration from Ramona again. I feel like this doing the half blue look rather than the full all over like Ramona is kind of, it's more than just her copying Ramona at this point. I feel like she's internally stuck between who she is and who she wants to be, or who she's trying to be and become, who she thinks she needs to be to win Scott over. Knives is still hurt and trying to figure out what to do with herself, as she's no longer with Scott, who she thought she was in love with. She's getting older, like trying to express herself, but which I mean is good for her to like help figure out who she is. But at the same time, it's also kind of sad because it's deeply rooted in like that insecurity of comparing herself to Ramona. So I feel like this half and half look is her like physically wearing her internal conflict between her identities. She doesn't know who she is. She's trying to figure it out. She's trying to mature and figure out who she wants to be. And at the end of the movie, we have her just back to the bob, but her bob looks more intentionally styled for sure. I guess thankfully for her that she had her highlights punched out of her hair.
He punched the highlights out of her hair!
Because now it led to her final look. She is much more grown, she's mature, she sees Ramona walking away from Scott at the end, and she's there, like she could be like, oh yes, he's here for me now, like he's all mine. But she pushes him to go for Ramona because he's been fighting for her this whole time. So that shows Knives' personal growth, and her hair definitely mirrors that with how like more put together it is. Like definitely at the beginning when she had that like schoolgirl hair, she had the unintentional pieces pulled out, but here she is like very smooth styled inward. I love this for Knives. It shows like how much she's grown over the movie, and we just really, through her look and this end scene, we really saw how her journey from like the innocence of being like her young schoolgirl self dating this guy in his early 20s to her like insecurity showing through and like trying to figure herself out and experimenting, all the way to the end of finding herself and being a much more grown gal. Next, we have Stacey Pilgrim, Scott's younger sister. Her hair is very basic, just well-kept, medium length brown hair, just very simple. I'd say it's giving like the similar vibes that Julie was giving with that like mainstream feminine look to just like fit in with everyone. But also she's giving similar vibes to Knives at the beginning, where her starting look, she was giving more like youth and innocence. So I feel like Stacey's like right in between the Knives vibes at the beginning, and Julie. She's like young still, only 18, but she's also fitting in. Next, we have Ramona's one female ex, Roxy Richter, from Ramona's bi-curious phase.
I was just a little bi-curious.
She's got a bright blonde with like really bold styling, voluminous, lots of texture, very heavy side bang, and intense face framing pieces, similar to Knives' big face framing pieces from the beginning. But Roxy's face framing pieces do look a bit more intentional for sure. Just like with the length of her hair and the whole overall like two high ponies, it looks more intentional. But her super voluminous ponies and like the textured little bit of messiness, it's like a bit messy but still intentional. It's just adding to her like aggressive, confrontational, high energy vibes. Super bold, and her look is overall rebellious and bold, and really shows her confidence and how she likes to project dominance. Like especially with those like black lines under her eyes, she's here to fight, and her look shows it. All right, so we'll end it with our girl Ramona Flowers, the star of the show, our original manic pixie dream girl. When Scott first meets Ramona, she has the very hot, bright, vivid pink, and it's super eye-catching, kind of giving like fantasy vibes, like how Scott's basically projecting his fantasy dream girl upon her. And Pink's also giving like warm and romantic, and could represent Scott's initial attraction to her. Next, Ramona walks through the door with blue hair, and Scott is definitely caught off guard. He's like, whoa. Clearly very unprepared for this sudden change. He later expresses to his roommate that she's like fickle, impulsive, and spontaneous. So that's definitely intimidating for him. This sudden change that she just showed up with oh so nonchalantly is kind of telling Scott that things with her aren't as simple as he was imagining it was gonna be with this fantasy girl he's run into. This is kind of where she becomes less of a fantasy and more of like a person with baggage. Like, wait, I don't know as much as I thought about her. She just went to the opposite side of the color wheel, like nothing, like it was so chill, like casual. And I feel like this is where Scott's relationship with the idea of Ramona turns from like the infatuation stage into like reality. Like, wait, this is getting serious. Like, yeah. I say the blue is representing like her commitment issues, how she's like pulling away or holding back emotionally from Scott. She is still more guarded and emotionally distant and hasn't fully opened up to Scott yet. So fast forward, Scott has fought a few of her evil exes. She changes her hair to green when things with Scott get rocky. The conflict with her evil exes have escalated as Scott's getting closer to like the final boss, Gideon. And I think the green is symbolizing facing her past, like her exes, patterns of commitment issues that she's been running from, but also the green is kind of giving like growth and change is on the way. Green's kind of one of those like weird in-between colors. Sometimes it's unsettling. I know that a lot of people they're like, just don't make my hair green. Like, a green is a big no-no for a lot of people. So sometimes green's kind of giving like tension and instability. The relationship is definitely becoming more real and messy at this point because Scott's getting more frustrated with all these exes one after the other, and Ramona didn't prepare him at all. They just started showing up and he was like, oh, another one. Like, who's the next one gonna be? I think overall Ramona's hair color changes show how she isn't just like a type. She's not just like the fantasy manic pixie dream girl, but she's evolving. She's inconsistent and still trying to figure herself out, which I feel like is what the movie is trying to say about relationships in general. Ramona changing her hair every like week and a half is definitely giving like evolving identity, still trying to figure out who she is and just getting through struggles. A lot of people like to change their hair when something in life goes wrong or something unexpected happens, or just like, you know, like when someone goes through a breakup and they change their hair drastically, or just any like different life events, emotional trauma makes people want to change their hair. They take it out of their hair. But I mean, it grows back, so that's good. So the movie was shot and based out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which I've been to a few times as a Canadian myself. And what's super cool is that one of the venues that Envy's band plays at, Lee's Palace, is an actual venue. That's what it's called in Toronto. And they show a clip in it. They show a clip of the venue as they're like going to the concert, whatever. And it's super cool to see because I've been there and I've taken some pictures in front of that cool wall, and it's neat to see in the movie. But yeah, I love a Canadian based movie. Anything Canadian in like movies, TVs is intriguing. Love to see if there's any like Canadian references or like little just Canadian things in them. And gotta love Michael Cera. In Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the hair really shows us each character's personality, growth, and emotional state. Each female character's hairstyle tells us how they relate to either Scott or Ramona or both, how they navigate their identity, whether they're still evolving into their true selves, if they're still emotionally guarded, or if they're confident in themselves and in their final true self form. Hope you enjoyed hearing my take on these iconic characters' hairstyles and what they mean. If you have any suggestions on any shows or movies that I should review their hairstyles and dig a bit deeper into the why, leave a comment below and like and subscribe while you're at it. Thanks for watching.